next player to be inducted into the Australian Survivor Hall of Fame is our first player from Season 2, 2006's Celebrity Survivor on Channel 7, and one of only two non-winners to be inducted this year, Imogen Bailey. Well known as a model and a singer heading into the season, Imogen overcame a tough start to the game where she was very nearly the first person voted out, then went on to become a social and strategic powerhouse across the rest of the season. Now, she formed arguably one of the tightest pairings in the history of Australian Survivor with actress Nicole Dixon. She then also adapted to the game around her with fairly relative ease and was arguably only prevented in winning the season by a late twist that saw two previously voted out players return to the game in Guy Leach and Justin Melby, as well as a dramatic Final Four vote, tie, and then re-vote that saw her alliance member Nicole voted out, leaving her outnumbered and eventually the last person voted out in Vanuatu, where she would finish in third place. When it came to voting for the Hall of Fame, Imogen polled very highly with both the fans and expert panel, showcasing that while her season may sometimes be forgotten, her status in the history books of Australian Survivor certainly is not. To accept her induction to the Hall of Fame, it really is a great honour today to be joined by Imogen Bailey right now. Imogen, first of all, many congratulations on being inducted into the inaugural Australian Survivor Hall of Fame.
Oh, thank you. It feels like so long ago, so I'm very happy to receive this induction.
Well, it's probably something that I'm sure maybe never even comes up in conversation much with you anymore, Imogen, that you once played Survivor and did fairly okay at it. I mean, what does this mean to kind of not only sort of bring these memories back, but be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Look, I put it down as one of the most exciting and amazing experiences that I had in my career in television. I went onto the island knowing that I was a very bad swimmer. And everyone said, why would you do Vanuatu Survivor if you cannot swim? So, it's exciting to talk about it. I also do have a little truth that I finally want to reveal that I'm going to tell you. Yes.
Okay. Wow. I'm intrigued. Do you want to tell me now or do you want to save it to the end?
Why not? Why not? I can tell you now.
Go for it now. Let's go all guns blazing.
I may just go in all guns blazing. So when you said third place, I just, I've been sitting on this secret for a long time, and Guy Leach and Justin Melby would probably be really mad that I'm about to tell you this. But basically, I never had a chance to win because Justin and Guy had done a secret handshake when they were, so they went off to the resort, they got voted off. They spent, I think Guy had spent like 10 days or something on the island. So they had been like eating great food and relaxing and, taking care of themselves. And they came back and they knew that they were coming back in and they made a handshake that basically they would take each other to the final. And I believe there might have even been an agreement about any winnings.
Right. So basically there was no stopping them at that point.
There was no stopping them, yeah. And so I've been sitting on that secret because it's completely against the rules apparently, because they were not on the island. But
wow.
But yeah, it was always I knew. I think probably the day that I got voted out was when I found out that they'd made that agreement. And I can't actually remember now if it was Guy or Justin that told me, but they said, I'm really sorry, but we actually have this agreement.
Wow.
I know you should come to the final, but it's not going to happen.
Interesting. Wow. I look forward to hearing more about that when we get you on over on Australian Survivor Archives one day there, Imogen, to learn more about that. I'd love to find out what your initial reaction was when you got that call or that offer that asked if you wanted to go on Celebrity Survivor. Do you remember that first approach to be on the show and how you felt?
I do, and I actually went and sat down at the studio with a couple of the people, the director included, and I remember saying to them, if you want me on there as the bikini babe, it's not going to happen. I don't want to be, that's part of my career, but if I'm going to do this, that's not what I want to be for this. And they agreed. They had already had, I think they had already signed up Gabrielle, the beautiful stunning,
Richens.
amazing Gabrielle Richens,
Yeah.
who was, I mean, she has a body to die for, and she was quite happy to kind of be the island goddess.
So they'd already ticked that quota essentially at that point.
Well, I think they still were hoping that I would prance around in a bikini, but I actually wore board shorts the whole time.
Which must make it interesting sort of in that aspect. I mean, what do they say to you when you kind of come back? Do they say we've already gotten someone, or do they kind of just go along and like, okay, that's fine, you can wear board shorts, we won't expect you to wear a bikini?
They didn't. They were okay about it. And but it's just funny looking back on it, because I think, I had a very strong personality then, and was very, as far as my career went, and I was very adamant that if I was going to do Survivor, I was going to do it properly, and I wouldn't just be there for a pose. And of course, choosing to do Vanuatu when you can't swim just went it just went with it.
Well, your introduction, you say, I can't swim, I'm deathly afraid of sharks, but I'm having a good time. So kind of in those opening moments when you're on the canoe, it kind of seemed like you were slightly questioning it, but you were already having a fun time.
Yeah, I was, I was excited to be there. I was having a fun time. I think the minute that I realised that we really weren't getting any food and shelter was when I thought, oh no. Can I actually do this?
What have I signed up for?
Yes.
Yeah, I mentioned in the intro, I mean, you were very nearly the first person voted out, and then you came very close to winning the game. What was the biggest turning point, do you think, Imogen, for you that kind of took you from that stage of the game to doing very well and nearly winning the game?
Oh, I think Survivor, what it does is it turns up all the good and the bad parts of your personality that the traits that you have. And I think that's just kind of my personality anyway, is that I go in as an observer and with caution, and then I work things out, and then I tend to excel. And in my ripe old age of 43, I have no problem in in admitting that's just the way that I work. You get to know yourself. So, I think that the friendship with Nicole was amazing, and that really helped. And everyone that did that particular series, we were all very encouraging of each other. So I think once you got a little bit into it and you realise that this was actually no joke, that we weren't going to be treated like celebrities, we weren't going to be given extra food, or it wasn't just for camera, that they were really hard on us. I actually got in really big trouble from the director for stealing some food.
Oh.
We can talk about
Yeah, I love this. You're doing really good at the caveat nuggets here for like a listen to our interview in a couple of months' time, Imogen. It's almost like I've pre-prepped you for this or something like that. You're doing very well with that. Do you feel, had the twist not happened, you mentioned the Guy and Justin handshake, but let's imagine that final three of yourself, Nicole and David, had been the final three. Do you feel you would have or could have won?
I think it could have been any of us. I think David or Nicole. I know David was very angry with me that we did eventually vote him off. He actually wrote me a really long email about it post the series. We can talk about that later on.
I hope you still got that, Imogen. That would be an email to read.
Maybe I do. I'd have to search for it. Maybe I
Dig around for that one. And I mean, 14 years on, though, from your time on the show, I mean, when you look back on it and that part of your life, what's the best memory you have from that whole experience?
Well, my best friend Sarah Marie came on at one point, and we laugh about that. That was so great to see her, and we're still best friends. So
great.
It's that was wonderful. I think just physically what you're capable of. And I think for me, what Survivor has done is every time, as corny and as cliche as this sounds, but every time I hit a point in my life that is really difficult, and there's been a few, don't we all have those, that I do look back on Survivor and I think, you know what, I actually did do that, and that was really tough. And doing the amount of days that I did, the hunger was real. Not to get too personal, but my body was so starved that I actually didn't have a period for 3 months afterwards.
Wow.
So, it was very real and I think very physically taxing, but it's something to look back on and say, I did do that. And, when times are tough, you go, if I can do that, I can do anything.
Since your time on the show Imogen, obviously a lot has happened in 14 years, but
Yes.
I mean, what has been happening and what are you up to now?
Well, I did do more television after that. I got married. I'm very happily married. I met an amazing man. I lived in LA for a while, and now I did actually completely change direction. I do birth and end of life work as a doula, which is a non-medical support person, and I also have an online education platform where I teach women to do Women's Circle, which is just, it's so rewarding, and it's a combination of all the skills that I've had, including probably a little bit of Survivor as well, into, this is the work that I do now, which I love.
Great. Do you want to give it a plug at all today? Do you want to let people know if they're interested where they can find more information?
You can find more information at imogen-bailey.com or honoringheart.com.
There you go. That is where you can find it. Imogen, it has really been an absolute pleasure to chat with you today, to present this to you. Now, I have this sort of physical award that obviously I can't present to you in person, but we will get this shipped off to you at some point there, so you can put that up proudly. But massive congratulations on behalf of everyone here at the Australian Survivor Hall of Fame Committee and all the fans who voted. Congratulations, and thanks for chatting with us here today on the channel. It's not a podcast. I was about to say podcast. On the channel. Let's say that today.
Thanks so much.